RPS, as we mentioned before. It's not a rock, paper, scissors type format, and EBQ has a very similar team as well on his side, but a Gastrodon instead of the Univan Stunfisk.
And we also see the Corsola with its Nightshade and Power Gem, great coverage, really bulky, and Astonish really adds up its great damage output as well. And KELIO, again, same team as Keshdon, probably because they're teammates as well. They probably talked about this beforehand, so having the same team, maybe we see the Scissor this time, we'll see.
Now, neither of these players have made a top 8. KELIO hasn't made day 2 either, so this is another opportunity for him to try and show EBQ. He has played against some great players, he's made some great wins, but I think his best performance has only just fallen outside of the top 8. He will want to correct that here this weekend. He's brought a flexible team, as we said, a slight adjustment to the PvP David and Boom team. Gastrodon with a more advantageous matchup into the Univan Stunfisk, but a worse matchup into other flying type Pokemon. KELIO, he's going with the tried and tested team. Now, KELIO, as we mentioned with Withered before, is a player that is willing to keep coming to these events, to keep grinding, even when they don't go his way. And he is a player that has a pretty big name under his belt as well. I actually remember watching him play against Inadequance, and he came out on top in that match. So that was a really impressive performance from him. But you have to start things all over again each time you come to these regional championships, and that can be daunting.
Yeah, I'm glad you told me it was Colin's brother, because I was going to say like, hey, it looks like Colin, but I didn't want to say that, but now I know his brother, so yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
he does look like Colin, but the question is, can he play like Colin?
Can he play like Colin? Yeah.
Or, I suppose, in his own way, can he play like KELIO plays? He might bring his own play style, his own unique approach to a tried and tested team, and I think that that's something that we should also encourage and be excited to see as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Colin is very proud of his brother being here as well, playing in these tournaments alongside with him. Well, Colin is also here, so I assume they're gonna be discussing a lot of things together.
I think Colin is actually in the same group. They're both in Group A. It might well be the case that the winner of this Winners Round 2 will play against Colin 6 in the next round. But first, they are up against each other. The players are locked in. We see Altaria on the side of KELIO. It's up against the Galarian Corsola for EBQ.
For Corsola, this is a really good matchup. Access to Power Gem, which is super effective against the Altaria with the Rock typing against the Flying typing here. But Altaria opts to go for the Sky Attack first. This is somewhat of a neutral matchup if you can shield the Rock Gem perfectly here. But as you see, the Sky Attack lands, doesn't even put it in half. Corsola is very bulky.
Yeah, Power Gem about to come through from this Galarian Corsola. These Pokemon are so bulky, and this matchup can often depend on the spreads that you have chosen to build on either side. The attack, the defense, and the HP on both sides can make a big difference. Sky Attack now coming through from this Altaria on the Galarian Corsola. It shouldn't knock out, but we will see just how close it gets as these players play out the zero shield scenario. Neither of them using a shield. EBQ holds on with his Galarian Corsola, astonishes down, and he throws a double resisted Nightshade into this turret. He recognizes that Power Gem would have been more efficient, but I think to win and to be able to pick his Pokemon for alignment for the mid game is still pretty advantageous.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to risk throwing either to lose the moves actually and get farmed down by something, so he threw up to do the Nightshade. But here comes the turret into Altaria. This is a positive matchup for the Altaria. It's a little bit more bulky, Sky Attack, Dragon Breath, great combination. And KELIO goes for the Swift here, and that doesn't get shielded by the Altaria.
Yes, Swift against this Altaria does neutral damage, and now we can also both see Shadow Scissor in the backs for both of these players, but they don't know it. They can't see the backlines of each other, so it's going to be an exciting endgame for sure. Neither player throwing a shield so far. Furret getting this Swift off against the Altaria, which is good because Swift and Trailblaze would both have been resisted by the Shadow Scissor, so this is a good distribution of damage. And now KELIO is going to be the first to come in with the Shadow Scissor, and it looks like EBQ had the exact same thought. They came in at the same time, and KELIO is going to win the charge attack priority here.
Yeah, he wins the charge attack priority. This is kind of key in this matchup. If he gets the boost, no, he doesn't get the boost, but they go both up for Night Slashes, and I think it comes down to who gets Bullet Punch down first, who has the better IV-dependent Scissor here.
I think it's interesting because you could go for Trailblaze to guarantee that boost, but also, did you see that one of the Scissor went into the yellow slightly earlier? KELIO's Shadow Scissor doesn't quite have the same bulk that EBQ's does, and EBQ is nodding because that makes a massive, massive difference in this mirror matchup.
Yeah, this is a high-ranked Scissor, and as you can see, the Ferret tries to farm down the Scissor, but Scissor is too strong here and farms down the Ferret instead and wins the game.
Look at that.
Oh, it's a simultaneous KO there.
Simultaneous KO, but the Altaria was still available for EBQ in the back. He takes that game number one. KELIO still had a shield available. That's why EBQ didn't even need to throw a second charge attack. He knew it would go shielded anyway. He went for that fast attack pressure. And you've mentioned this before from Shadow Sizzle. It can be really, really oppressive with that bullet punch.
This is where, like, you can tell why IVs are important, knowing that BQ's Scissor was a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little more HP, and you can see the damage output, the difference right there, that it gets farmed down.
Yeah, the different stat spreads that you can have on your Shadow Sizzle can make all the difference, attack, defense, and HP. And players with Shadows, you often don't have as much flexibility to choose which Pokemon you build. They're a little bit harder to find, a little bit harder to get. And so some players are just using the best that they can. I know from PvP David and Boom's matchup in the Grand Finals, Boom let us know that he wasn't using the most optimal Shadow Sizzle. A lot of players will opt for very low attack and have much more defense and HP for bulk. Some players will opt to build Shadow Sizzle that have more attack because they feel the charge attack priority is more important to them. We saw there that the lack of bulk for KELIO perhaps cost him, and EBQ was able to power through with his Shadow Sizzle's bullet punches.
Do you know my Shadow Scissor, what stats it has? It's a 15-0-0.
Really?
But it's shiny.
Full
so
attack,
full
no
attack.
defense,
Yeah,
no
attack.
HP.
No.
You're just there for the charge attack priority event, and honestly, I'm here for it as well. I love running Pokemon with high attack. EBQ, he has a Pokemon that it lost charge attack priority, remember. We saw that KELIO won charge attack priority, but the bulk was more important in that instance. So for some mirror matches, it is about charge attack priority. In other mirror matches, it's purely about can you hold on.
Yeah, the only thing that can flip that matchup is a Night Slash boost, where the bullet punches get more damage, then obviously it gets flipped around. But yeah, having the better Scissor there, winning charge move priority is amazing for him. Yeah.
Really, really
and
good.
The trainers have locked in, and we have a Stunfisk into Scissor, which is, I mean, the bullet punches are resisted, but Stunfisk is so frail, Scissor is so frail, it needs to go for Trailblaze here to do any meaningful damage.
Trailblaze would be super effective if it lands, but that Univan Stunfisk reaches its attacks a little bit quicker. Going for that Mud Bomb, it will do a lot of damage to the Shadow Sizzle, and so EBQ is going to put up his first shield as he leans in, and he's going to actually throw a Night Slash bait here.
Yeah, not opting for the Trailblaze, I guess trying to get the shield and save some energy, and yeah, we see here, Scissor, we have a Scissor, you need to use shields, so they try to fit for that. Oh, he catches on third right here. It was a great catch by LBIQERPL here. Amazing.
And it looks like KELIO, he has been struggling a little bit with those Thunder Shocks, not getting quite as much energy as he wanted. Let's see if it makes a difference in the end game. The judges can make a decision if they need to, but Altaria is currently meeting this Furret. Furret and Altaria, both very flexible picks, neutral matchup against each other, both with reasonable bulk as well.
Yeah, they're both losing some fast moves here, so let's see what the judges are going to say here. But the Sky Attack gets clicked on and it's going to land. It's not going to shield. LBIQERPL is not going to shield. The Furret is definitely going to hold on here on this Sky Attack. No issue at all. You
could now potentially Dragon Breath this down, but it looks like the players have agreed that they are both losing a few too many fast attacks for it to have the right outcome that you'd expect from this matchup, and the judge gives them permission to end the game there. So a similar situation, unfortunately, but we got a lot of opportunity to see that the types of lines that these players are leaning into, the types of flexibility that they are looking for. We saw the aggressive bait and swap there from EBQ. We saw KELIO having that Univan Stunfisk. Very reasonable, very happy for him to throw Mud Bombs and then be able to sponge some damage and then come in with Altaria and play a zero shield scenario. And I think that that is one of the best ways to play Altaria, just to try and get some value without needing to shield it necessarily.
Yeah, also a great lead for him, having Stunfisk on Scissor. If you just successfully land the Trailblaze, you're just so fine. Since you outpace so fast with these Mud Bombs with Stunfisk, resisting the bullet punches as well.
Shadow Sizzle on both sides, the only Shadow Pokemon on the teams of these players. We saw so many Shadow Pokemon on the side of Withered earlier. But these players, they need to have a think as to how they are going to adjust, because they have had an opportunity now to see the leads for a second time. The judges will allow a rematch of that game number 2. We know that EBQ has the advantage, so a little bit more pressure on KELIO to perhaps make an adjustment and really consider what strategies he could employ to take on his opponent.
Do you think they heard me when I said Scizor was a favorite Pokemon, and the first game we saw both set of Scizors?
I think Scizor is just a fan favorite all across the board, but perhaps they do. But
no,
perhaps,
I don't want that. It's my favorite. Now everyone's favorite. It's not fun.
Do you use a shiny Shadow Scizor? I've seen some players
shiny,
really.
Shiny, yeah. Shiny.
I know Jox, our fellow caster, he also has a shiny Shadow Scizor. I don't have one, I wish I did, but he might be bringing that this weekend as well. It seems to be such a popular choice for so many players. Would you be bringing Shadow Scizor if you were competing here in Stuttgart this weekend?
No, I wouldn't.
Really?
No.
It's too meta now.
Yeah, it's too meta now. I don't want to play it anymore.
You're gonna wait for it to maybe fall off the radar and then surprise people a little bit later. These players are ready to go. We're rematching game number 2 here. We're seeing Univan Stunfisk again on the side of KELIO, but an adjustment on the side of EBQ. He instead goes for this Altaria. Will he, as we've mentioned, try and play a zero shield scenario? He's going to be running Dragon Breath and Flamethrower as the neutral attacks to throw into Univan Stunfisk, not before a discharge is thrown by KELIO.
Yeah, this is a very neutral matchup as well for both Pokemon. Discharge being neutral, Flamethrower being neutral. The Dragon Breaths, they do add up slightly, but it is obviously not enough. Does Altaria win the zero scenario here?
I think, again, these can also be a little bit dependent on the stat spreads and the way that you play it. And remember that Dragon Breath, it received a change this season, Tales of Transformation. It no longer does quite as much damage. Instead, it's a little bit more energy focused. That's why Altaria is reaching these Flamethrowers a little bit quicker. And it looks like this Univan Stunfisk is at another discharge. It should be able to hold on to the Flamethrower, but discharge, it's not the most efficient attack. It's neutral against the Dragon and Flying typing of Altaria. And so KELIO is about to throw. He's at back-to-back, and this is exactly what we mean about it being dependent on the stats, because look how low that Univan Stunfisk is. This discharge does take out the Altaria, so that was really, really smartly played, and now KELIO also has a Mud Bomb available to throw into the Furret, so he's in a great position going into the mid-game.
Yeah, this is great knowledge of your Pokemon. You know that you can survive it, you know you're going to get off with the move, and this is a perfect scenario here for KELIO. He's in a really great spot. He brings the Altaria into the Furret, and here comes the Scizor, my favorite Pokemon! I
really like this counter swap from KELIO, aggressive Shadow Scizor swap. EBQ comes in, perhaps hoping that there might be a Mirror Scizor in the back. But I wonder now, does Furret just go for a Trailblaze and 2-shield Sucker Punch through? Is that the strategy that KELIO is going to try here? Yes, he is, and I really, really love this. He actually shakes his head, but that's because of the boost from EBQ.
He got the boost, I can't believe it. Even though the charge moves are resisted by Scizor here heavily, the Sucker Punches add up so quickly here. Look at his damage, but the Scizor can able to farm down the Furret there.
And look at that boost potential from the Shadow Scizor, the first one coming through against this Altaria. If this boosts again, the next Night Slash would do massive damage, but it's going to land regardless. There is no boost, but this boosted Night Slash is going to do a ton of damage, and that possibly could have been KELIO's only lose condition in that matchup. He was otherwise playing it so strongly, and now the Furret is able to come in, and Furret's Swift will potentially threaten a knockout on this Altaria. If it doesn't, the Sucker Punches will be more than enough to take it out. KELIO will get an opportunity to throw a charge attack first.
Oh man, that was some heavy damage from that boosted Night Slash there, but as you can see, he knows that the Sky Attack won't knock out, so he's just gonna not throw in his charge move here and then let it go.
Not a lot that KELIO could do after that Night Slash boost. That was everything that EBQ needed to power through the mid-game into the end game, guarantee a massive amount of damage, and take 2-0 victory. He will now progress